Hey. Time for an out-of-this-world story from rSpace. Is oxygen an aphrodisiac? They say there's nothing better than fresh air. Today on rSpace, a hike will do you good, until your fiancé hikes right into your sister's bed. Up first, sometimes you have to see it to believe it. This OP got photographic evidence. I took my fiancé home to meet my family, and left with no fiancé. I, 30 female, got engaged in March of this year to E, 31 male, that I had been dating for the last 3 years. It was heavenly bliss, until I introduced him to my family. We went home to meet my family as it was important to him to get their blessing. I didn't care either way, but I did it to make him happy. Everyone was welcoming of him and seemed genuinely happy for us. Before the trip was over, my eldest brother suggested a sibling partner's camping trip in a cabin up north to bond and get to know my fiancé away from our parents. I was reluctant, as I typically didn't spend this much time back home, but eventually agreed. The trip was going well, so I let my guard down and decided to enjoy being in the mountains with my siblings. However, the day before the trip was over, everything changed. My sister and her husband were on their 17th argument of the day, and it was only 11 a.m. Her husband stormed out, and she stayed there just crying. I didn't do well with other people's emotions, so I suggested a hike to clear everyone's heads. My fiancé suggested that us siblings go so that my sister could talk freely if she needed to. I asked if he was sure, and he stated that he'd just check some emails while we were out. Early on the hike, my sister said that she just wanted to go home. I offered to walk her back, but she said she wanted to clear her mind. We continued our hike, and she went back to the cabin. After the hike, my brother and his wife wanted to explore, but I just wanted to shower, so I headed back to the cabin. My sister's car was still outside, even though it was a couple hours later in the day. I ignored it and went inside. I heard soft moans coming from upstairs and then a familiar grunt. I went upstairs only to see my fiancé and my sister together in the worst way. Something broke inside of me. I took a pic of what I saw, quietly grabbed my things and left my ring on the counter. I left, sent the picture to the family group chat, and turned off my phone. The next day, I had 47 missed calls from my family and 75 plus text messages from my fiancé. Apparently, her husband got the text as he was returning to the cabin and wasn't so kind to my fiancé. Initially, I felt justified in my actions. I hate it, but I did. However, I now know that even though what they did was terrible, what I did was wrong too. Sending that picture to the family chat was gross, and the innocent family members didn't deserve to get dragged into that. My engagement is over. I removed myself from the family group chat, and I haven't spoken to anyone about it since. These last few months have just felt so empty. I just want to move past this, but I don't know how. Let's see what the community has to offer. First up, the trash took itself out. Do not feel bad about the group text. I think it was brilliant. I'm curious how your ex got home if you left him. Someone else says, I personally think you were justified in sending that. No words, just proof. Someone else chimes in, if they were having sex at the cabin everyone was staying in, then to me it's no different sending them a text of what they'd have seen if they'd have arrived back together anyway. You screw your fiancé's sister in a cabin that you're staying with an entire family, you get caught, outed by the entire family. They essentially were screwing in public at that point because it seems there are at least 4 siblings and partners in that cabin. You don't have a rendezvous sharing lodging with at least 8 people thinking you won't be caught. The next comment says, don't beat yourself up sending the picture to the family. Your sister and ex got what they deserved. At least you found out what a piece of crap your ex was before you married him. I'm not sure what you can do about your sister other than going no contact, even at family get-togethers. Look at it as you dodged a bullet. Unfortunately, it'll hurt until it doesn't. Try to get out there and date again. You'll find someone who will love only you. Another person says, although I'm sure it wasn't your proudest moment, you shouldn't regret how you felt. It was not a you problem. And one more reaction. Your decision to send the photo was in the heat of the moment, so you got a pass. But in reality, doing so has made it impossible for either of these horrible people to deny it or force their own and different narrative of their betrayal. Take time to heal. You won't always feel this way. You shouldn't feel bad for something that other people did. You took a picture because the odds of people believing you were slim. I mean, how could people believe something so ridiculous until they saw it for themselves? Honestly, you had to do what you had to do. Like the comment said, you made it impossible for these people to ever be able to deny it. And yeah, maybe it did hurt some people, but this isn't on you. It's on the people who were fooling around on each other. What do you think? Up next, the cheater becomes cheated. I had an affair with a guy from work. You can read my original post on my page, but long story short, I, 35 female, have been married to my husband, 38 male, for 7 years. After 3 years of a nearly dead bedroom and a lack of affection, I started having an affair with a guy, 49 male, from work. Cut it off recently, and was working out how and when to confess. I want to thank everyone who commented or DM'd me. Whether it was good or bad, I appreciate the advice and criticism. It gave me perspective on what to do. So I planned on writing my husband 2 letters, one that was very detailed and one that was just straight to the point, and I would have him choose which one. I also felt I should do this after getting a new job, but I was still contemplating doing it sooner. This is where the update takes a serious turn. My husband's phone kept going off last night. He was asleep. I've never snooped through his stuff and never planned to. But it was a woman's name that popped up. So I looked. Figured it might have been a family member or something. Turns out it was a chick asking if she was still gonna see him because he hadn't updated her. I was shocked. I went through all the messages. Turned out it was a 19-year-old chick that works at the Starbucks near our house. I woke him up and asked him about it. After a back and forth, he confessed. He's been seeing her for about a year. I was speechless. Then I confessed to my affair, which had started in February. He lost it. Started yelling and cussing and calling me names. I said, "Did you forget about what you just confessed to?" He said, "I don't care," and kept yelling. I started laughing uncontrollably, to the point that he just stared at me. I was laughing and then started crying uncontrollably and screaming, F you for making me beg all this time." Then I caught myself somehow. I went and took a long shower, then I got dressed. He asked me if we could talk. I said yes when I get back. I left, went to Starbucks, got my drink, and asked if the girl was in. She said yes and got her. I said, "So you've been sleeping with my husband?" She was speechless. I said, "I'm not mad at you. You're young, but that's a dangerous game to play and it's not worth it. If you've ever been to my house, please never do so again. But again, I'm not mad at you, okay?" She said, "Okay," with tears in her eyes. I got back home and told him what I said to her. I said, "I shouldn't have yelled at you." We started talking, but he starts trying to make excuses as to why what I did was worse. I couldn't even take in a lot of it. I just told him, our marriage isn't a marriage. What you did and what I did were equally bad, and our marriage wasn't good before all this. I'm not mad at you. It all makes sense now. It's like I finally got the answers to why you haven't been affectionate towards me. I'm not mad, just done. And you've obviously been done as well, and that's okay. He continued being mad and left. I checked his laptop. There were videos of him and that girl, plus another girl from 2021 and another girl from the end of 2019. The past 3 years makes sense now. So basically, karma is undefeated. I deserve this. I'm crushed. This wasn't how I thought my marriage would go. I'm so broken I feel physically numb. But I also feel like I knew my marriage was over and I should have just called it. But instead I became something I never wanted to be and did things I shouldn't have. And now look. That's why I can't be mad at him. How could I? But him trying to be mad at me? It's probably just his pride. Not expecting him to react to things correctly this fresh. But yeah, it's over. Not sure what I will be doing in terms of our living situation, but yeah, it's over. I'm sad, I'm ashamed, and just stunned at how everything has fallen apart. And there's nothing I can do about it but be better in the future. I will try talking to my husband again. I just want us to be fine. The marriage is over. We both did wrong, but I don't hate him. We just held on when we should have let go. I'm sorry this was so long. I am emotional and hope this update was clear. I will answer whatever questions there are. Again, thank you. Now on to the community for reaction. First up, at least you're smart enough to realize there is no working on a marriage like the one you're in. You would just end up hating each other. I'm sorry I came to this. If you do nothing else, promise yourself you're done being a cheater. Clearly he needs to do the same, but as you said in your post, be a better partner for the next person you care about. Tell them about all of this and the work I'm sure you're going to do to make sure you don't do it again. Communication is a wonderful thing. The OP replies, "Thank you. Yes, that is the plan. We'll work on myself and get to the root of my own issues. I really hope he does the same as well." Someone else has this to say. "That's rough, OP. Both of you were in the wrong, but you finally have answers for the DB. He's trying so hard to be more mad at you when he's been doing you dirty for years. Take pics of evidence, OP, before he drags your name through the mud. I'm glad you confronted the girl, too." The OP replies, "Yes, I have the evidence just in case. Don't want things to get more messy. Just a simple separation. And yeah, the girl is young. Hell, I was doing stupid crap at 35. It was important for me to let her know that I wasn't mad at her, in case down the line she feels guilty, which I could tell she did. But also wanted her to know it's not worth the headache to be in that situation." Yes, the comments have some truth here. You have some sense of emotional maturity in order to know that it's done. But where was this when you decided to cheat? Why cheat? Why not just leave? The marriage was clearly over before you decided to cheat. I mean, that point was made quite clearly when you discovered that he was cheating on you as well. Thoughts? Next up, motherhood is a fine balance. And this OP got knocked off kilter. Cheated on with a toddler while pregnant. What next? Okay, yes, the title is off. This story isn't what anything that's sinister, but it's uneditable and was written in a desperate and sleep-deprived state with poor grammar. Possible worst timing to discover his infidelity. He was sleeping with our neighbor while I was pregnant. The husband of the affair partner knew his wife was cheating and hired a PI, and Viola, the person she was cheating with, amongst others, was my husband. Found out while I was 9 months pregnant when the husband confronted him and at the kids' playground in front of all of our friends. We live in a very small community, so this has been absolutely humiliating. I am devastated and my whole world is shattered. Our babies are at such a young and vulnerable age, I can't fathom how he could do this now. I kicked him out and gave birth to our daughter a month ago. But the stress of handling 2 small kids on my own, the sleep deprivation, postpartum depression, the juggling their needs all while running a business as I am self-employed is taking its mental toll. He has offered to move in to help me, but that seems like a just sweeping it under the rug and moving on situation. I feel like he will be able to manipulate me more easier and weasel his way back in. Like most cheaters, he's in favor of reconciliation and of course, loves me and will show me. I am not. I also just feel really vulnerable as I wanted so much to give my kids a whole family. Would you accept this situation to get the help you need in such a desperate time? I don't wish any woman to have to go through this intense newborn stage on their own, and I'm honest enough to say that I can't handle it alone and I'm drowning. I live abroad in his country, so I have no family here. Friends and a nanny in the daytime, but that doesn't help me with the night when it's the most chaotic. Should one lean more towards reconciliation when there are babies involved? Ask for advice, the community has some. First up, no, not if you don't want to reconcile. At the end of the day, he knew you had 1 toddler and a baby on the way when he cheated with a neighbor, and that didn't stop him, so why should you forgive him when he didn't care enough about your family together in the first place? Are you currently breastfeeding? If you aren't, then I would say allow him to do 1 overnight with him looking after them until the morning at your house, until you are more comfortable with the baby being away from you. Also, maybe 1 afternoon or evening for 3 to 5 hours a week as well, where he can take them out for a few hours on his own at wherever he is living now, or some extra time with just him and the toddler as well, since they will have noticed the change more. That way, you can get a break without giving him the idea that you're getting back together, unless you really want to, or he's shown he's sorry and doing the things you need from him. You can also get back together if you really want, or use him until the baby is older or you are able to move back home where you have more support. Do whatever you feel you need. The next bit of advice. I can't even imagine the devastation you feel and my heart breaks for you. I am sorry. Truly, reconciliation is a gift. I think cheating is awful to begin with, but cheating on a pregnant wife is beyond cruel. Not only that, he was putting you and your baby's health at risk since his affair partner had multiple partners. Have you, both you and him, done an STI test? He does not deserve reconciliation, at least not right now. He does need help though, whether it is to pay for somebody to stay with you at night so you can catch a break or for him to come a few times a week. If you choose the latter, I would make my boundaries super clear and in writing. No mentioning of reconciliation, for example, list of things to do. Not talking about his emotions or guilt or promises or whatever. It's your and your child needs right now. You don't deserve any of this. You do need and deserve his help, but only on your terms. You have to decide what those terms are, but I would not consider reconciliation right now because everything is so raw and it could be rug sweeping. His promises are worthless. Give your body and your mind some time to heal, and then you can make decisions. Watch his actions and not his words. Find a therapist. They really help. Sleep, eat well, lots of fruits and vegetables. Drink lots of water. Listen to music you love for minutes a day. You are worthy of love and respect, and you did not deserve to be in this situation. I'm so sorry all this happened to you, OP. And in such a vulnerable time in your life, your priority should be to establish clear boundaries and terms if he wishes to help with the children. It's essential to communicate your needs explicitly and focus on practical aspects rather than emotional discussions. Check and see if there are any services available in your area for help with mothers in situations like yours. And honestly, reach out to your friends. They may pull through when you need them the most. Remember that you deserve love, respect, and support. What would you do? And thank you for joining us today on rSpace. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video. See you next time.